Right then, so episode 4, we briefly talked about Capital One and their involvement because they were one of the sponsors on TEDxLacemarket.org. They got behind us, they potentially sort of paid for the venue and helped us get to where we were, and hopefully we'll be working on a TEDx event for them this year. So they've been incredibly powerful. Tell me a little bit about the whole twinning with
Sarasota in Florida.
What's that? Where's that connection come from?
Basically, I go out to Sarasota in Florida.
Yeah.
I'm part of a group that studies something called Keylontic science, which is various sort of stuff to do with meditation, consciousness projection, all those crazy things that people like to do.
Yeah.
And when I was out there, I happened to have a look at a magazine and I saw this project called Cooking Matters. Really, I thought, oh, this is absolutely perfect. They're doing what we're doing. Basically, they teach children how to shop on a food budget, because a lot of kids there are on food stamps. So a lot of those kids, they might actually be the person that's in charge of the food budget and doing the shopping because their parents are disabled or whatever.
Right.
So basically, they're teaching them how to cook a healthy meal from scratch on a really limited budget. It's a 6-week course that's free, and they get loads of volunteer chefs and other people to come in and help them. I thought, oh, that's absolutely amazing. So what I did was I found the contact, I emailed them, I said, look, this is what we're doing in Sneinton. Would you be interested in setting up a twin? We could exchange a newsletter 4 times a year, so children in Sarasota can see what children in Sneinton are doing. So it's about food empowerment, like beyond the sort of confines of
Food
your
pen pals.
Yeah, almost like food pen pals in that sort of ways. Recipes, stories, comments, pictures, all that sort of stuff. So that it just inspires children to realise that there's stuff going on way beyond. Again, it's food poverty. I'm trying to turn it around to food empowerment. Social eating as this really empowering thing around food. So yeah, Sarasota, and I'm going to go out there probably in December this year, and I'm going to go and do some voluntary cooking for them.
Wow.
And again, that will all be, and I'll do a bit of teaching, other bits and pieces. And again, we'll document that, and that'll be part of our newsletter as well.
I guess it also, the kids get to relate where food comes from. You could sort of like factor that in. You know, we've got these sort of chickpeas from over this place in the Middle East, and we've got these from there. And so it's the connection of knowing that there's another person somewhere else.
Yeah.
Another thing I wanted to talk about is you've had some social enterprise advice recently, because obviously you're sort of developing that side of things. Tell us a little bit about the food hub. What is that?
This aspect of the cafe. Basically, the cafe will run as a tea time club 4 evenings a week, and we're taking supermarket donations and upcycling it into a meal to be shared. But we'll also be operating as an educational place. We'll be running these 6-week programmes, which we'll talk about in a bit. The other thing is it's a food hub. It's linking with this organisation or this brand that's called Knots Nosh, which is going to be linked this year. Yeah. And that's all about local food. So if we're going out through EcoWorks and all the allotment associations, but also just locally through the leaflets we're sending out to parents through schools, if you've got a bag of potatoes or you've got a few extra apples or the runner beans or tomatoes, bits
which people
like
do
that.
have,
of course
right?
They do have, but also might be way of encouraging people to grow a little bit more. You can bring it in, you get a token, you get a free meal. So literally, rather than it's all about getting as much of that sort of locally based stuff into our food. But also, say if you've grown the salad and then you sat there on a table, you said, "Oh, did you know that salad? I've actually grown it in my garden." It's all that stuff that happens around food where people can have conversations about it and get to know each other. But also, if you're growing some stuff anyway, it's not maybe that much more trouble to stick in a little bit more. Then you've got somewhere where people are actually eating your produce. I just think it adds this huge value to it.
It does actually, because I remember going up to the allotments for some event up there and sat next to this really awesome Jamaican gentleman who sat next to me and told me about his, he goes up to the allotments because he loves that allotment. He's got his own allotment, and he did have a patch on the front of his house, but then the council took that away and said, no, you can't do that, I'm putting a railing up or a fence up or whatever. So then he got this other allotment, but he supplies food for his family. Yeah. That's what he can do for his family and his relatives and whatever.
Because he has loads to spend.
Yeah, right.
Post-war, we pretty much all our
It's
food,
just really odd, isn't it? I mean, I remember going out to my granddad's allotment and going into his greenhouse and looking at the tomatoes and runner beans. And, I think the thing for me, from a digital perspective, is we're not transferring those skills. Yeah. We are not leaving the legacy behind for our children to survive. Yeah. And that's what scares me. Yeah. I can tell my daughter about technology all day long, but if she can't eat, we've got a problem. Yeah. So that's why I'm sort of behind all the stuff that you do. Coming up to 4.5 minutes, and we'll finish this one up. We've got 2 more episodes left. Episode 5 talking about toolkits, rolling out National Eating Programme, and in episode 6 about a component of the toolkit regarding field trips. So catch up with us, episode 5.